The moment she leaned in to kiss me, I smelled him on her. Cologne. Cheap. Mixed with alcohol. My stomach dropped. And she had the nerve to smile, lips still wet, hair dripping, wearing the dress I bought her. Happy birthday, babe, she said, slurring, as if nothing was wrong. I didn't say a word. I handed her the envelope. Thick. Unmistakable. The same one I'd been staring at for the last 3 hours, waiting for her to crawl home. She laughed, unbothered. What's this? A love letter? No, I said quietly. It's evidence. She opened it. Her smile froze. Inside, photos of her on another man's lap by the pool, receipts from the hotel, a GPS printout showing she spent 4 hours at his apartment last night, the same night she told me it was girls' night. She didn't deny it. She didn't even flinch. She just said, "You're being dramatic." That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And the woman I married? She didn't exist anymore. I stood in the kitchen while she flipped through the photos, holding them like they were coupons she didn't ask for. Her fingers barely trembled. Her eyes scanned each image with the kind of detachment that chilled me. She wasn't surprised, she was bored. You really followed me? She finally asked, voice flat. No, I said. You left a trail. I just picked it up. She scoffed and dropped the photos on the table like they disgusted her. Not because of what they showed, but because they inconvenienced her. Do you realize how psycho this is, Ethan? She said, pouring herself a drink like we were in some soap opera. You went through all this trouble, for what? I stared at her. To confirm what I already knew. She took a sip of wine, red lipstick smudging the glass. You're always so suspicious. So controlling. It's exhausting. That line. Controlling. It's what she always fell back on when she didn't want to own what she did. But I wasn't playing defense this time. You're right, I said. It is exhausting. Pretending I don't notice how you hide your phone in the bathroom. Laughing too hard at texts from clients. Saying you're with Brittany when Brittany's drunk posting stories with you nowhere in sight. That finally hit. A flicker in her eyes, barely noticeable, but it was there. I could see the wheels turning. She wasn't remorseful. She was calculating. And then she said it. Fine. I messed up. Are you happy now? It was like getting stabbed and being asked if the blade was your favorite color. No, Madeline. I'm not happy. I'm awake. She rolled her eyes, and something about that broke the last fragile piece inside me. The worst part of betrayal isn't the act. It's watching the person you gave your world to treat your pain like an inconvenience. You were boring, Ethan, she said, cold as winter. You go to work, come home, pay the bills, and think that makes you a man. I needed more. I nearly laughed. So you found more in a guy who works at a pool bar? Maybe he sees me, she snapped. I nodded slowly, gripping the edge of the table. I hope he keeps seeing you. Because after tonight, he's all you've got. She narrowed her eyes. What's that supposed to mean? It means I already spoke to a lawyer, I said, sliding a second envelope across the table. It means the apartment lease is in my name. The car you drive is under my business, and the credit cards you maxed out get frozen at midnight. The smirk faded. It was subtle, like watching a mask melt in slow motion. You're bluffing. No, Madeline. I'm done bluffing. You played your game. Now I'm playing mine. She walked toward me like she still had power. Like she could spin this. Don't do this. We're married. Were, I said. Past tense. She laughed, high-pitched, desperate. You'll be begging me back in a week. I'll be celebrating, I replied. And with that, I walked past her, grabbed my jacket, and left the apartment that used to be our home. She didn't call after me. I didn't look back. When I got outside, the cold air didn't hit me. I was already frozen inside. But for the first time in months, I felt clear. This wasn't the end of something. It was the start of war. And I was wide awake. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. I drove aimlessly for a while, the city lights passing like ghosts, the silence in the car louder than anything she'd ever said to me. Her voice still echoed in my head. You'll be begging me back in a week. She believed that. Genuinely. That's what made it sickening. Around 2 a.m., I pulled into a hotel. Not even a fancy one, just somewhere to disappear. At the front desk, the woman asked, 1 night or 2? I almost said forever, but instead just slid my card across the counter. Once I got to the room, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the little folder of legal documents in my hand. The same one I handed her hours earlier, but this copy had a few extras. Bank transfers. Password changes. Closure confirmations. Everything set in motion. Madeline thought she broke something that night. but I'd already been broken. What she didn't realize was that I'd been rebuilding myself in silence. Weeks ago, when her lies became too polished, too rehearsed, I started preparing. I didn't confront. I didn't accuse. I just watched. I took notes. And I planned. She laughed at me for being boring, but being boring meant I was invisible, predictable, a ghost in the room. And she underestimated what ghosts can do when they stop pretending to be alive. The next morning, I messaged her from a new number. Keys on the table. Utilities canceled. Lease terminated. You're a guest now. I didn't get a reply, but I imagined the look on her face. Her waking up, expecting coffee and confrontation, and instead finding silence and consequences. Later that day, I drove to my brother's place. Nate had always been the one person who saw through her smile. He never said it out loud, but he didn't need to. His eyes did. From the first time I brought her to Thanksgiving dinner, he pulled me aside and said, "She looks at people like she's shopping." Now I knew exactly what he meant. When I showed up on his porch, duffel bag over my shoulder, he didn't ask questions. Just opened the door and gave me a beer. "You okay?" he asked eventually. I shrugged. I left her. He didn't say anything for a moment, then raised his bottle. About damn time. We didn't talk much after that. Just sat in silence, watching some mindless TV. But for the first time in months, my chest felt a little lighter. That night, I went through old photos on my phone. Me and Madeline in Cancun. Our wedding day. Her in that red dress she wore on our second anniversary. I wasn't trying to torture myself. I just needed to see it. To remind myself that it did feel real once. Because the hardest part of betrayal isn't the lying. It's questioning your own memory. Wondering if every smile was a weapon. Every laugh a performance. I fell asleep at 3 a.m., phone still in my hand. And for the first time in months, I didn't dream of her. But I did dream of Firepoint 3 days past. Not a word from her. Not a text. Not a call. Not even an attempt to fake remorse. That silence told me everything I needed to know. Madeline wasn't worried. She still believed I'd break first. On the fourth day, I got a call from our property manager. "Hey, Ethan. Madeline's causing a bit of a scene." I could already picture it. Her in that tight fake leather jacket, voice raised just loud enough to embarrass someone without screaming. Demanding to know why the keys didn't work, why her name wasn't on the lease anymore, why the utilities were cut off. She must have looked ridiculous. "She doesn't live there anymore," I said flatly. The guy hesitated. "She's saying you can't kick her out." "Check your email," I replied. "The documents are all there." I hung up. An hour later, she messaged me for the first time. "Madeline, really? You're going to be petty?" No apology. No explanation. Just an accusation, like I was the one who cheated and lied and came home reeking of another man. I didn't reply. So she tried again. "Madeline, let's just talk. Don't throw away a whole marriage over something so stupid." That word, stupid, that's how she saw it. Not betrayal. Not humiliation. Just something inconvenient. So I sent her one thing, a screenshot of the photo she dropped on the floor that night, now neatly arranged in a folder labeled Final. She left me on read. The next morning, I got another message, longer this time. This one wasn't angry. It was rehearsed. "Madeline, I made a mistake. I was drunk. It meant nothing. I was feeling lonely. You were distant, and I just wanted to feel wanted again. I know it was wrong, but we can fix this. Please, don't destroy everything." That was her version of regret. But it wasn't regret. It was strategy. Her comfort was slipping, and now she wanted to reel me back in. Too late. I didn't answer. I didn't even open it. Instead, I posted a single story on my social media, a photo of me and my brother out at dinner, laughing, glasses raised. Just a casual shot. But the caption said everything. "Freedom tastes better than forgiveness." She saw it within 20 minutes. That night, Brittany, her best friend, the one who accidentally posted those pool stories, DM'd me. She said, "I didn't mean to cause drama. I thought you knew." I wanted to reply, "She used you as a shield, Brittany. She used everyone." But I didn't. Because that's the thing about people like Madeline, they don't just betray their partners. They betray their friends, too. The next day, I started packing what was left in the apartment. I didn't want the furniture. I didn't need the artwork. I only wanted two things. My grandfather's watch and my backup drive, the one that had years of saved emails, photos, records. Just in case. While I was packing, I found something else, something I hadn't expected. Tucked in the back of her closet was a small notebook. Black cover. No label. Curiosity got the better of me. Inside were pages of handwritten thoughts. Not poetic, not romantic, just raw, venomous rants. One line stood out. I feel nothing around Ethan. Like he's air. I hate how stable he is. I need chaos or I lose interest. That was it. The final nail. The truth from her own hand. I put the notebook back, walked out, and locked the door for the last time. Let her feel the silence now. A week after I left the apartment, Madeline showed up at my brother's house. I was in the garage, working on some old shelves, just to keep my hands busy. Nate had gone out to grab lunch. The garage door was open, spring air drifting in, soft music playing in the background. And then I heard it, the familiar sound of those fake designer heels tapping against concrete. I didn't even turn around. You're seriously hiding out here? She asked, voice sharp, like I owed her an answer. I'm not hiding, I said calmly, sanding the edge of a board. I'm rebuilding. She scoffed. You're ridiculous. This whole thing is childish. I put the sander down, finally turned to face her. She looked different. Not physically. She still had the same tight jeans, the same overdone makeup, the same smirk she wore like armor. But her eyes, they weren't smug anymore. They were uncertain. I came to talk, she said, walking closer, arms folded like she was cold or defensive. You won't answer my calls. My messages. There's nothing left to say. That's not fair, she snapped. You just walked away. I laughed once, bitter. No. You walked away. I just finally followed you out the door. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Okay, maybe I messed up. But people make mistakes, Ethan. You're not perfect either. There's a difference between imperfection and betrayal. You're being dramatic again, she muttered. It wasn't some long-term thing. It was one night. I stepped forward. Then why'd you do it again 2 nights later? Her face changed. She didn't know I knew that. I could see the blood drain from her cheeks. She looked away, suddenly interested in the floor. You said you needed excitement, I continued. But excitement is just your excuse for being a coward. You want chaos because you don't have the strength to deal with real life. She looked back at me, voice cracking. I didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, you did, I said. You just didn't expect consequences. Silence hung between us. The kind that says more than any shouting match ever could. Then she tried again, softer this time. Can we at least talk like adults? Figure this out? I did figure it out, I said. While you were out getting attention from strangers, I was busy pulling the rug out from under you. You're really going to throw everything away? She asked, stepping closer, almost pleading. All the years? The memories? Memories don't keep me warm at night, I said. And they sure as hell don't erase what you did. Her lip trembled, just slightly. You used to love me. I did, I admitted. But I loved the woman I thought you were. She didn't cry. She didn't fall apart. She just stood there, stunned. Like the words were hitting her now, one by one, like punches to the gut. Then, finally, her pride broke. I don't have anywhere to go, she whispered. That's when I knew she wasn't here out of love. She was here out of necessity. Her fallback plan was failing, and I was the last door she thought might still be open. But I wasn't a door anymore. I was a wall. Not my problem, I said. Figure it out. And I turned my back to her. Picked up the sander. Pressed the button. The whir of the machine drowned out whatever final words she tried to say. And when I looked up a few minutes later, she was gone. For good. I hoped out a few days passed. Then a week. No knocks on the door. No messages. Just complete silence. Exactly what I needed. I spent those days in quiet recovery. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't cinematic. It was just real, waking up on a couch, eating cold takeout, staring at the ceiling some nights wondering how I missed the signs. But for the first time in years, every thought I had was mine. Every hour I spent belonged to me. Nate gave me space. He wasn't a let's talk about our feelings type, which I appreciated. But he was the kind of guy who tossed a pair of keys at me and said, use the garage. Fix whatever you need. I fixed more than furniture in that garage. Piece by piece, I rebuilt a man I hadn't seen in years. One who didn't need to walk on eggshells. One who didn't wonder where she was when the text stopped. One who didn't feel like a stranger in his own home. Then came the call. Blocked number. I answered out of curiosity. Ethan? The voice was shaky. Madeline. I said nothing. She continued. I'm at my mom's. I don't have anything right now. I wanted to talk. I waited. You don't have to say anything, she said quickly. I saw that post you made. With your brother. You looked happy. Still, I didn't speak. I wanted her to sit in that silence. Let it choke her a little. Do you ever think we could fix it? She asked quietly. Like, maybe we just lost ourselves. You didn't lose yourself, I said, finally. You gave yourself away. That's different. Silence on her end. Then a sniffle. I didn't think it'd end like this. Neither did I said. But I'm glad it did. I hung up. No more blocked calls after that. Instead, I started hearing from people we used to know. Her coworker, a mutual friend, even her cousin, who messaged me, I always thought you deserved better. Apparently, the guy from the pool party? He ghosted her 2 weeks later. She tried showing up at his place. Security called the cops. She cried to her friends, said she made a mistake. But no one wanted to clean up her mess. Her little empire, the fake smiles, the curated Instagram stories, the endless flirtations, it all crumbled. One brick at a time. And me? I was working on launching a new consulting project, something I'd put off for years because she said it was too risky. Funny how the same woman who lived for chaos hated when I took a leap. By the end of that month, I had a new bank account, new legal documents, new apartment, everything clean. Everything mine. The best part? The divorce papers had already been processed. Uncontested. She didn't even fight. Probably couldn't afford to. Her name wasn't on anything. I made sure of that. And then I got the final message. Madeline, you really meant it. You really left. Yes, I did. Because sometimes, the most powerful move isn't revenge. It's removal. It's not proving your worth. It's refusing to let someone treat you like you don't have any. And as she unraveled in the ruins she made, I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. 3 months passed. I hadn't seen her face since that last phone call, the one where she tried to sound broken, tried to sound soft. But Madeline never truly cracked. Not back then. I figured I was done with her. Until the charity gala. It was a corporate event tied to my new consulting work, something I only got invited to because one of my new clients insisted I be there. I didn't want to go, but I had just signed my first major contract. And I figured, maybe it was time to stop hiding from the world she used to control. I wore a dark blue suit, clean shave, clear eyes, no anxiety, no weight on my chest. Just me, showing up like I belonged there. I was talking to a group of partners near the wine bar when I saw her walk in. Red dress, long hair, confident stride, like she owned the room. She didn't see me at first. She was too busy doing what she always did, scanning for someone richer, someone shinier. Her radar was always on. But when her eyes finally landed on me, everything about her posture faltered. Just for a second. She adjusted quickly, tossed her hair, picked up a drink. I didn't approach her. I didn't need to. 10 minutes later, she walked up to me. Well, she said, her voice half curious, half fake sweet. Didn't expect to see you here. Business, I replied, keeping my tone flat. You. I was invited, she said, avoiding eye contact. Friend of a friend. She looked me up and down. You look different. I am. She forced a smile. Looks like you're doing well. Better than ever. There was a pause. I could see her calculating again, wondering if I had someone with me, if I had moved on, if I was as happy as I looked. I didn't offer answers. So, she finally said, I've been thinking. About everything. About us. Us doesn't exist anymore. I know, she said quickly. But it doesn't mean we can't be civil. I tilted my head. We are civil. You're talking. I'm listening. That's more than you gave me when you were sneaking off with pool boys. Her eyes narrowed. That's not fair. You're right, I said. Fair would have been letting me go before you cheated. That shut her up. She took a sip of her wine, glanced around like she wanted someone to save her from this conversation. No one did. You really changed, Ethan, she said. You used to be quiet, passive. I used to believe people were who they pretended to be. We stood there, the noise of the party swirling around us, two ghosts from a story no one else knew. Then I leaned in just slightly, not menacing, just enough to speak low. You said I was air, I said. But now you're the one suffocating. And I turned, walked away, and left her standing there, red dress, empty eyes, glass still half full. That was the last time I ever saw her in person. But it was the first time I saw myself clearly. I wasn't angry. I wasn't broken. I wasn't wounded. I was done. And she knew it. After that night at the gala, it was like everything inside me clicked into place. Not because seeing her gave me closure, but because I didn't need it anymore. Closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. And I had made mine the moment I handed her that envelope on my birthday. The days that followed weren't perfect. Healing isn't linear. Some mornings, I still woke up remembering the way she laughed when she used to fake love. Some nights, I'd find myself wondering how long she'd been lying before I noticed. But those thoughts came with less weight now. Less sting. They passed quicker. I let them drift, like clouds over a house I no longer lived in. I moved into a new apartment overlooking the river. Small place. Minimalist. Clean. No reminders of her. No echoes of the old life. I bought new furniture. Tossed the old sheets. Gave away anything she once touched that I used to pretend still held warmth. People say you can't erase someone. They're right. But you can erase the version of yourself that tolerated them. I did exactly that. Work was booming. Word had spread about my consulting. More clients came. I hired 2 assistants. I spent weekends hiking, something she always called a waste of time. I went to a boxing gym 3 times a week. Threw punches into the past. Left sweat on the floor. Picked up something stronger than muscle discipline. Then came the letter. A small envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, 1 handwritten page. I thought I wanted more. I didn't realize you were the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm sorry. I truly am. No signature. Didn't need one. I folded it once and dropped it into the trash without a second thought. Not out of anger. Not out of bitterness. But because I'd already buried the version of me who would have read it twice. Madeline was a chapter, not the story. If there's one thing I'd tell any man reading this, it's this. Don't chase explanations from someone who made a choice. Don't wait for apologies that come too late and mean too little. And never, never let someone convince you that their betrayal was your fault. I loved her deeply, fully, but I love peace more. The truth is, some people only realize your worth when your absence becomes too loud to ignore. Let them hear the silence. Let them choke on it. As for me, I light my own candles on my birthday now. I celebrate with people who actually mean their words when they say, I'm proud of you. I wake up in a bed that isn't filled with doubt. I open the door to days that feel honest. I survived a woman who tried to destroy me with indifference, deceit, and pretty lies. And I didn't just recover. I rose.